Hi, my name is Serena. I'm one of the founders and developers with Daedalus TTRPG. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be releasing a short series of videos intended to demonstrate some of the tools and functionality available on our platform in the early alpha version. This video is intended to give users a glimpse into the visual programming tool that we like to call the function creator. Welcome to the demonstration of our visual programming tool. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment to emphasize that this is an early alpha version that is only being tested internally at the time this video is recorded. With that in mind, please note that the styling of this tool, including the layout, will be overhauled prior to the start of our invitational testing cycle. Additionally, there are many features of this tool which have not been enabled for this demonstration. Two examples of notable features not seen in this video include language support beyond the ISO standard. This tool has support for a wide range of natural languages available in the ISO 639 language code standard. We have also laid the foundation to support additional languages that are not included in ISO 639. Our intention here is to support underutilized languages or languages that are undergoing revitalization, such as many First Nations languages. We have also not included client-side internal functions that can be programmed using this tool that are intended to be used for a variety of things, including animations, collisions, and general support with various game and physics engines. Lastly, we do allow users to declare variables using this tool. Given that our variables do so much, including allowing direct and simple access to the various databases, we felt they deserved their own video sometime in the next week or so. The function creator has been designed to allow people with little to no programming experience to be able to actually put together complex functionality required to bring their creations to life. This isn't necessarily limited to just games or tabletop role-playing games specifically. However, that is our initial focus, and we do intend to expand the functionality of the platform later on. Now, we don't necessarily think that it's reasonable to ask people to know how to actually program in order to be able to use these tools. However, there will be a bit of a learning curve as we are generating real functional code in the Daedalus programming language. To help make it easier for people who may be new to this, we've added some helpful features such as tooltip descriptions that allow you to hover over various components and it will actually give you a rough idea of what these things do. We do plan to add some extensive documentation. However, in this video, I just wanted to take a short amount of time and demonstrate some of the things that this tool is capable of and actually show people just how powerful and just how scalable that this actually is. So these are some of the blocks that are available. I've scrolled right to the bottom. We are going to give you a much more in-depth idea about what these can do in a moment here. But I really want to stress that this tool actually is meant to give you a very solid idea of what is happening with your code as you're building it. Now, there are a couple more things that we have not added yet, but we do intend to add prior to the release of the beta version of the software and the invitational testing cycles. So these connections between the graph will actually explain how you got there, and it will be quite clear by the time we do release the beta what is actually happening. So within these blocks themselves, we add functionality for almost everything that you might want. We can check to see if two things are equal, not equal, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and so on. Many of these blocks actually allow you to really bring some of the most complex type of code that you could possibly want to build in a platform or really anything else to life. And while it's not currently enabled, these tooltip descriptions that we showed you we actually have them down to the individual option level for these different lists. Now, everything that you see here will actually put out real code. And, again, we sort of talked about how we have support for various natural languages in the ISO 639 standard. So that means that really, whether you speak, English, French, Spanish, anything else, hopefully at launch, we should have support in this tool. And we do acknowledge that, there's some styling issues here, but you should be able to do just about anything that you can think of with this tool. One of the things that we've actually pulled out, so you might notice here that sort of compared to everything else, we've got these sort of funny looking hexagon type shapes. That was actually where we pulled out the variable support for this video, because we want to actually make a video that really shows you how powerful those can be. We not only allow you to declare a variable with, what some people might know as primitive types, things like numbers or words and letters, true and false values, but we actually allow access to the different databases. So you can go in and access stuff in the game database, the character database, whatever it is that really you need. And so one of the really cool features, at least I think it's one of the really cool features about this graph, is when we say that, it's really infinitely scalable, I really do mean you can keep scaling this thing. So we're just using a simple block as an example here, but, sort of as you keep going, it will keep building your graph for you. And one of the really beautiful, nice things about this is as you're actually building it, you don't necessarily have to worry about, is something that I built, which is really complicated, am I going to get lost building this? As we actually add support on these connections to tell you, this is how you got here, maybe this is the condition, or this is whatever else, it will actually become quite easy to sort of tell what is happening in a hugely complicated function, whatever it happens to be. So I'm just using this one particular block as an example. It's one of the ones that I quite like. I think it looks nice, but there's no particular reason for me to be using this. It could really be anything. As long as it passes the connection and type checks, it will build whatever it is that you want. And so you can sort of see here, we're outputting the code. This is a vertically and horizontally scrollable list. We do know that some of the indentation that should be here when you get deeply nested like this needs to be improved upon. And that is one of the things that you will actually have access to by the time we do these invites. So when you see little things like that, just know that they will be fixed prior to the open invitations. And while we don't ever expect that anyone is really probably going to build anything this complicated, as far as functionality and logic goes, we do really want people to know that, this type of thing is available. Another one of the things that I wanted to show you was the difference between script support and function support within our visual programming tool. Now, I believe everything in the video so far has all showed you script support, and we've actually removed a lot of the checks that are available simply because I just wanted to be able to show you how the tool works and have absolutely everything available. That said, the Daedalus programming language, which is actually a language one of our developers wrote, allows a lot of flexibility in that area. So nearly everything that you actually saw tonight would have run just fine in script mode. And if it wouldn't, all you have to do is convert to a function. It won't get rid of any of your code. It'll keep everything. You can always test it. I promise this will look a little bit nicer. However, at launch, our functions, you can see here, it has actually converted the script into a function. We offer support for numbers, strings, so you can think of those as words, sentences, Boolean values, so those are true, false, lists, and something called maps. One of the easiest ways, if you're unfamiliar, to sort of think about maps is almost like a dictionary, and some languages actually do call it a dictionary. So you know what you want to look up. Maybe you want to look up, say, a fruit. Well, you know you want to look up maybe an orange, so you look for the word orange, and then you look at the definition. And so, much like a dictionary, we have a key to actually access something, and then a value. I won't bore you with the details. However, I did just sort of want to quickly touch on some of the different return types and kind of the difference between, again, scripts and functions within the tool. And I think lastly that we really sort of need to reiterate that, what you're sort of seeing here, this is an internal version of the software. So things like styling, layout, maybe little visual errors that you're seeing, this stuff will all be changed or fixed prior to the closed invitation testing cycle that we've actually invited members from just one community to. They felt like the right people. They're very creative. I've seen a lot of the really cool games and modules, things that the members of this community have created and thought, how can we help bring these things to life? So once we've kind of got things a little more polished, we'll release it to you guys for that internal test or the invitational testing. And hopefully at that point, anything that you see that doesn't properly line up here, we'll have that fixed for you guys. One of the final things that I wanted to demonstrate was how a visual programming tool like this one, but not just limited to this tool, can actually make something like the code that you see on the right a little bit more manageable. So in this case, we can see that if 40 is greater than 6 times 6 and 7 is an odd number, then we will do, in this case, we're repeating something and we haven't put anything in here. So what we're repeating is not defined yet, but you can see here that within this loop, which is what we're creating when we repeat ourselves, because we have not given it a value yet, if the count is less than 0, we will not actually run this loop. So this gives us the opportunity to drag a block over here, or we could use this other repeat block where we just type the number in manually. This, though, allows us to actually potentially do a calculation and figure out the number of times that we would like to run something. So in this case, we could actually do, say the square root of 9 to figure out how many times that we want to calculate something. And where this could matter, is a game where, or really an application of any kind, where if a certain condition is met, maybe your character is a certain level or you have a certain amount of health or an attribute, you'll repeat something a few times and you actually have to dynamically sort of calculate that. That's where things like this can really become valuable. And so you see that it actually changes the code that is output, and then we can choose to actually make it do something. So in this case, I'm just going to throw in a print statement. I'm going to throw in our handy dandy text block, which should let you know that it's text over here. So we'll add support for that. And let's just add something like, say, RPG design. If you've followed this far, I just want to thank you on behalf of the Daedalus team. We really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. And we're extremely excited just to be able to show you some of the other cool tools that we're working on. As far as the function creator goes, it is actually capable of a lot more than you've seen today. I'm sure a lot of people will have a lot of questions. I'm sure not everybody's going to love this. One of the next tools that's actually coming up is the user interface builder. And I'm not going to try and explain what that is without having the opportunity to show you, but I promise that it is equally powerful. And within it, you can actually design complete applications. So, whether you want to create a TTRPG, whether you want to create a utility, a mod, add on to an existing game, maybe you always thought, hey, there's this TTRPG I play or this game I play or even an app I use, it really doesn't have these internal tools that just kind of make sense. You can actually build that and add it on to whatever you're playing yourselves. And one last really super important thing. We play TTRPGs, we play games. I've been an avid gamer since I was 4 years old. And I don't think that it makes sense to rigidly impose rules. So this tool does not actually rigidly impose rules. That's not what this is about. We make sure that all of the power is still within, the hands of gamers and, whoever's running the game, whoever's playing it, because it's so very important that really the game is played and changed dynamically according to what's going on, the whims of people at the table, whatever else. So keep following us. I promise we're going to have some amazing tools. I really think you're going to love them, and we would love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much.